Well, good afternoon, everyone. Here we are again for the third panel discussion of the Borrego 360 Wellness Challenge, your best you yet. And today we're going to be talking about how to structure a workout. And Mr. Mike Puzzo from Functionally Fit for Life in Borrego Springs is going to be heading the conversation. Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you.
The mic is all yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. So I think that it's kind of cool that today we'll be discussing like how to structure a workout and like how I structure a workout. And then in 2 weeks, we'll get together and actually go through a workout. So you'll have, we'll talk about it today, and then we'll actually do it here in a couple of weeks. So, Karen, you've been working out with me now for a year or so. So you have a decent idea about how I structure things. I'm going to talk about it in a little bit different context today. I'm going to talk about it more in related to the strength basics classes that I do. I think that seems to be, for the folks that are participating in this program, I think that seems like it's more situated to their maybe their needs and their abilities and stuff. So it'll be a little bit different than what you're used to. So I think that the biggest reoccurring theme is that, especially if somebody is trying to program on their own, if they're working out at home, is to keep it simple, to baby step it, and to make it a priority, scheduling it into your day, scheduling it into your week, as opposed to saying, "Oh, I'll do it later today," or "Oh, I'll do it later this week." Coming up with a strong plan and strategy so that it's like, no, on these days at this time, I'm going to be working out at this location doing X, Y, and Z. Whether that's a cardio-based workout or a strength-based workout or a muscular endurance-based workout or whatever the case might be, just having that structure so that you can have that consistency over time, so that you can achieve the results that you are looking for. So I actually have a number of questions that I would like to pose to you guys first, and just kind of gives me something for me to think about, something for you to think about, and then we can kind of go off of that. So, what have been challenges in starting any sort of exercise program? And this can be answered by anybody on the call. So if people want to, I know I'm kind of putting you guys on the spot, maybe not being prepared to have an answer for this. So this is something that we can come back to. Maybe if you want to think about it a little bit, and we can come back to it at a later point, or just something to kind of kick around in your own head. So the 4 questions that I have, for you guys as we start off are: what are the challenges in starting any sort of exercise? What are the challenges in maintaining that? So it's one thing to start and do it for a week or two, but what are the challenges in maintaining that motivation to continue week after week, month after month, year after year? What are your motivations to exercise? Are they intrinsic? Are they extrinsic? So I have other notes here. I have multiple pages here. So intrinsic are going to be like our natural tendencies to explore, to learn, to take on a challenge, competence, autonomy, mastery of said thing, purpose. It's fun. It's a challenge.
Think we lost Mike, or did you lose me?
No, we lost Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
There he
still
is.
here. There you are.
Oh.
We lost you for a while.
Oh, shoot. Damn it. Where did I kick off?
You asked one question, then you were talking about intrinsic. You were
Okay.
explaining intrinsic. Okay.
Okay. So I asked the question about starting, maintaining, and then motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, the intrinsic versus extrinsic. And so with the extrinsic, those are going to be your external motivators. So again, something that's reward based, praise based. It could be money, competition, avoid being shamed or judged. Any of those things. And then the fourth question is, in the past, what have your workouts consisted of? And so those are kind of four questions that, you know, people can, if they want to answer now, please do. If you just want to kick those ideas in your head, do that. If you want to kind of brainstorm on it and, you know, share those later, do that as well. So if anybody wants to answer, just stick your hand up, and then we can do that.
I'll kick off.
Yeah.
So, I'm pretty consistent, but I do know that time is often a factor, you know, so one of those extrinsic factors that impact whether I work out at all, how much I do, how excited I am about the workout. So, you know, if I don't have a lot of time and I can't like go in there and give my all, sometimes it's a downer because I do enjoy the activity, you know, I like to feel good. So making sure you're making the best of your time is something that I'm always kind of wrestling with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think, you know, you know, my guess is that one of the reasons that you've been successful, you know, in your consistency and in your competition and such is that most of what you do is probably intrinsically motivated, you know, like you had mentioned last time, where it's just like, you just feel better. Like it's just something that's like, I just feel good about this, you know? That is the, you know, whether somebody can achieve that over time or not, like, I guess that's the goal, right? To have that process as opposed to just that thing at the end of the, you know, 6 months down the line, right? As far as that goal and stuff. Yeah.
I think once you find that thing that you're happy with too, like at least for me, I was like, once I stopped chasing things that I knew I didn't enjoy doing at the gym or exercise wise, I was much happier with the workout. Like it sounds silly or really basic, but you know, find that thing that you like to do and do it all the time. That's kind of where I'm at.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it might be like, you know, you might be more bodybuilding, you know, motivated. You might be more athlete motivated. You might be, you know, more just kind of general, you know, motivated and stuff. But again, yeah, do the things that are, you know, do the things that you find fulfilling, you know, as fulfilling as possible.
An answer too.
Yeah, go ahead, Rossy. Yeah.
Well, for me, and I'm ashamed to say I'm at the bottom of this curve right now, but as you know, I used to be a fitness instructor and I used to work out every day. And then I had a nerve injury, and that kind of stopped everything for a couple of years. Could hardly move. But anyways, now I find that it's like, where is that person that, you know, just, I mean, the gym was my happy place. I would get up in the morning and it was like, okay, go. And I just loved it. If I didn't do it, I could feel it. And it was, again, it was intrinsic. It was just like, I'm going to go there because that's going to give me my fix for the day. And I want to get back to that. And now it's a matter of juggling a lot of different responsibilities, but more than anything, finding that inspiration, right? Because I know that once I find that inspiration, then I'll be good to go again.
Yeah. 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 And I'll piggyback on that, you know, myself, whatever, in that, you know, since going full time with my business in January of 22, my training is significantly less than what it was through my 30s and, you know, up until 40, 41 or whatever prior to going full time. And, you know, honestly, I'm okay with that. You know, it's just like things have their ebbs and flows and stuff. And, you know, I train enough to keep myself sane. But, you know, not nearly to the volume and intensity that I have in the past and stuff. And right now that's totally fine. You know, I'm just kind of doing what I need to do to keep myself healthy right now. And then, you know, kind of go from there.
So for me, I guess I think the challenge in starting this up to when I did about it was June 15th of 2023 is when Erica Lopez was the one that we always laugh. You know, I always give her a hug and tell her, you know, she was the one that said, you need to go. And I thought, well, why not? But I would say that, you know, when you work full time and you have a family, it's just finding time for yourself. And I think a big part of it might have been some sort of guilt, because I always felt my obligation was to go home from after working all day, go home and cook a hot meal and make sure everybody, you know, was good, and homework, all those things that you do as a parent and a wife or whatever. So I still almost to this day feel sorry for Button in a way, because he doesn't get that anymore. And sometimes like he'll say some little comment and I'll say, well, do you want me to stay home and cook for you? And it'll be a long pause, and then he'll say, no, get out of here. So, but anyway, he's really supportive. But that's, I guess, part of the starting of it. I think the motivation for me is definitely probably intrinsic. I love the camaraderie of it.
Yeah.
You know, I know I can tell when we chit chat and stuff. I'll look, and then the look on Mike's face, he's just going to knock it off. But it's just it's nice. I feel like I've met new people, you know, that I wouldn't probably have met, you know what I mean? That's whatever. And so I look at that as a really valuable, people are very interesting to me. I mean, and I'm really lucky like that. I have so many different acquaintances or friends from all different walks of life, or spectrums. And I find it fascinating. So that is really fun for me. And I think, as far as I guess I was always fairly active, you know, so it wasn't so much structured gym time. But when I was younger, I loved to run. I loved to play tennis. I loved to play racquetball. I loved to ride. So that was before a family. Doing things was a big part of my, you know, of my life. So I stayed fairly active in that. So it was, anyway, thanks, Bruce. That's what I would say. You know, I never really had the opportunity to do what I'm doing now with the strength and conditioning, which I love too. I mean, but there's not much, I mean, active wise, that I don't really love. If somebody said, oh, tomorrow, let's go to the La Jolla Indian Reservation and go on the zip line, I'd be all, you know, I probably couldn't sleep. I'd be so excited. It'd be like going to Disneyland or something. So I love all those kinds of things.
Nice. Yeah. And I think that, you know, activity outside the gym is like so essential. Like, you know, you hear the people who, you know, like, oh, I go to the gym 3 days a week. And it's like, yeah, what do you do the rest of the week? Do you sit on your butt at your office and on your couch and you do 3 or 4 hours of intense work? Okay, great. Yeah. Like, there's like, you know, it's just, we need to do, you know, the spectrum, right? You know, the low intensity, the high intensity, you know, the intermediate stuff. Like, so no, I think, doing as many sort of other hobbies and activities and sports and things of that nature, you know, as part of your fitness program is phenomenal, because there's so many things you can do in life and in sports that you can't do in the gym. And it just makes you way more well-rounded in your just fitness.
And if you've ever heard, and I mean, I've not ever heard a guy say this, I don't know, but a woman say, oh, I can't wait for my day off. I'm going to sit in my pajamas and binge watch or read. And I think, oh my, I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, if somebody that looks forward to that, I think, oh my goodness, if you had 6 or 8 more hours in a day to be doing stuff other than in your pajamas, it would be great. Anyway, that it's interesting to me.
Well, yeah.
That was my New Year's intention for just one day.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing so much. I want a jammy day, please.
Yes. Hey, and there's, hey, you know, one of those every now and again. That's cool.
Yes.
That's cool now and again. Yeah. Okay. Before I move on, is any other anybody want to add anything to what we were talking about? Okay. All right. So again, we'll go over, like, I'm going to go over how I kind of structure these strength basics classes. And in general, it matches up with how I structure the classes that you take, Karen, though there's differences, some subtle, some not so subtle. But in any given warm-up, and all of the strength basics classes that I have are all full body. The folks that take those classes, they tend to enjoy a full body workout when they come in versus strictly upper body, lower body, or and those classes are available 3 days a week. So people tend to do those 2 or 3 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is when they're offered. So in our warm-up, we're gonna move all of our joints through their full range of motion. It's gonna be different from person to person, but from the ankles to the shoulders, we're gonna wrists and elbows. We're gonna move everything through their full range of motion. Just start lubricating everything up, just getting it ready for what we're gonna do. From there, we're gonna move on to some activation of the larger muscles through a relatively easy to moderate movements from different types of glute bridges and some RDLs, some different types of split squats, some squatting motions, anything, whatever we can do or a variety of things that we can do to kind of warm up those big muscles, get the blood flowing as much as we can, get the heart rate up a little bit. What I find is that I get a lot of newbies, folks who there's a big cycling community in Borrego. And so I'll get a number of people who have been cycling forever, and they're 60, 70, 80 years old, right? But they've never been any time in a gym. And so on a bike, they're in a very singular position, right? And so asking them to move in a certain way, and this could be a variety of different movement patterns, tends to be very challenging. The brain just doesn't understand how to do it. So once we do just kind of moving all our joints through the ranges of motion and then doing some muscle activation just to get the blood flowing and get the muscles firing, then we're going to practice movements that we are going to be doing later on in the workout. So particularly, hinging patterns, squatting patterns, lunging patterns. In particular, people find it hard to properly hinge at the hips and stuff. So we'll spend a few minutes, whether it's a bilateral or whether it's an offset hinging pattern. We're gonna practice that. I'm gonna give them tons of cues, what to feel in their feet, in their knees, and their hips, cueing them to, if we're hinging, kind of push their hands back into their hips to drive their butt back. Where to feel it in their hamstrings. Feel the weight in their heels a little bit as they hinge back, push through their arches as they stand up, just kind of cueing, just to get the brain dialed in with the rest of the body so that it kind of understands what we're gonna ask of it. Once we've kind of gone through the different movement patterns that are going to be part of the workout, then we're going to go through the workout. The way that I have the strength basics is that I'll have, again, it's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And we'll have 5 different workouts that are all different. And we'll basically cycle through those 5 workouts for generally 3 months. So basically, like workout 1 Monday, workout 2 Wednesday, workout 3 Friday, and then workout 4 and 5 on Monday and Wednesday. And then the cycle starts again on the following Friday. So what this does is, especially for the new people, is that it gives them time to kind of learn the movements and stuff. And yes, all of the movements, over the course of those 5 workouts, we don't repeat movements, but there are lots of similarities in the different movements, so that they're always working a hinging pattern, a squatting pattern, a pushing, a pulling, a lot of rotation. I do a lot of rotational movements as well. We tend to move in the sagittal plane, so just front and back or forward. But want to incorporate things moving the frontal plane, so side to side, and then also in our transverse plane, so rotating and stuff. So all workouts will include all variations of those movement patterns and all those planes of motion, so that we can just, again, educate the body on how to do all those movements. So for example, what we did this past Friday, so yesterday, we did, and right now I'm having, as a basic rule of thumb, we're doing 3 sets of everything, generally 10 to 12 repetitions. That will vary in this strength-based basics from anywhere from 8 to 15 repetitions, but for right now we're doing 10s and 12s. So we'll do like 3 rounds of 10 left and right dumbbell rows, or excuse me, 12 left and right dumbbell rows, and then split squats also 12 and 12. And then the second, and these are all couplets. So they basically just do exercise 1 and 2, and then just cycle through it for three sets. And then the part B essentially, or part B is dumbbell pullovers and RDLs, also 12 repetitions each. Part C is going to be our rotationals. So we're going to do cable rotations. I might stagger their feet, or I might have them in a square position, but just teaching them how to push in and out of one side of their body, using their abdominals, getting that stretch to their obliques as they kind of rotate through. And then I have a little bit more, I have got some more athletic rotational movements. So I like using landmines for a variety of things. And so we'll do landmine rainbows. And so it's just taking that landmine, which is, Rossy, you'll see it in a couple weeks if you don't know what it is, but it's basically a stand that you slide a barbell into, and it allows you to do all sorts of different movements and stuff. And so we just do a hip to hip pattern, and just kind of, doing some twisting and stuff through the body as we rotate through. And for that, 3 rounds of 10 left and 10 right, for both of those movements. And then I like to finish with either some sort of dynamic balance or working the calves and the feet and the ankles in a bunch of different ways. So here, this is going to be, what we did was 3 rounds of 5 left and right of a lateral lunge jump or step, depending on what the person's able to do. And then a step back lunge to a high knee balance. And so what we're, thanks, Rossy. So on that lateral lunge, it's just like you were skating, like on a, like you were skating, right? Stepping from side to side or jumping from side to side, or whatever the body can handle, and then having a brief pause while you're on one leg, and then so on and so forth, going back and forth. On the step back lunge, having a person step back as far as deep as they can. And then as they, so I say I'm stepping back with the right leg, then that right leg, as I'll step back, trying to get that right knee to the floor as close as possible. And then as I stand up, I'm going to bring that knee up to a high knee position, hold that balance for a couple of seconds, and then return. And with that one specifically, if somebody needs some external balance, I need, a finger or 2 on the wall. While they do so, then, by all means, have a finger or 2 worth of balance as they're kind of moving through those ranges of motion. So that will kind of take up our hour for what a workout is going to look like. I will say that the other thing that we'll do is, where is it? Yeah, they are. The other thing, when we're working calves and ankles, I like to work them at varying positions, like different ways to load it. So whether it's going to load more your calf or your Achilles. So sometimes we'll do calf exercises where we're in that, we're just doing calf raises, or we're doing isometrics in that fully extended position. Or we're going to do a calf raise, or we're going to do this calf iso, where you are just having your heel float just off of the ground, the weight's in the ball of your foot, and it just loads your calf in that dorsiflex position. And it just loads your calf and Achilles in a slightly different way. And so just kind of different variations and stuff, just to make as well-rounded of a, person as I can. So let me just slow down and stop there for a second. Based on what I said there, any questions, comments, concerns that anybody has based on everything that I spewed out at you?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So people are going to get better at what they're doing.
Yes.
How do you split up the class, maybe intensity or level of difficulty as people progress, you know, while others are still maybe trying to feel their way through it.
Sure. Yeah. Good question. So I have had some people that like graduate from the strength basics class to the class that Karen does. So that would be one way. I have other folks who are who've been doing the strength basics class for a few years now, and they are, you know, quite content. And we just kind of mark their progress just based on their ability. So one lady who, you know, when she started with me doing her split squats, she could not get her knee to the floor. You know, she was 6 inches away, whatever. And now she can quite easily, right? You know, she can do 12 repetitions, 3 sets, getting her knee to the floor on a split squat. So having conversations with people on a daily, you know, like on a workout basis, okay, you know, okay, I can see you've, you know, accomplished this. Now let's do this now, right? To, you know, to increase that intensity. This time of year, I do tend to spend a lot of time with the newbies, really just teaching movement patterns and making sure that they're not hurting themselves, you know, and that they're gonna, you know, not get hurt and stuff. But I have been having more conversations on the side with clients that have been with me for a while, being like, you know, just having conversations about what are their goals and stuff. And it's like, okay, we need to bump the intensity a little bit. You know, the intent in these workouts is such that I see you, you know, I'm working with person A, and I see other person, you know, I see out of the corner of my eye, and you're using X number of pounds on a certain lift, whatever, and you're doing those 12 reps pretty easily, you know.
Yeah.
We need to kick that up, and that's on. So I do put a lot of onus on them, that especially those that have been with me for a little bit. I mean, like, this is, you are here on your own accord. You are here for your own betterment. Like, I want to put this on you to, you know, bump it up. And so sometimes I think that once you get an understanding, you've built a good rapport with people, you can understand, you understand which people you can kind of call out a little bit and be like, you need to work a little harder.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
I do.
I'm sorry.
I said, I do know what you mean.
And so one thing that I'll tell, 1 second, and I'll come to you, Rossy. One thing that I will remind my folks is that when we are, and this is for kind of anybody in general, is that if the rep range is 12 repetitions on our last set, how many can you do, right? So if I'm calling for 12 and you can do 13 or 14, okay, you're probably doing all right with the weight that you have. If you're doing 20 repetitions, you need to increase that weight, because again, I'm asking for 12. If I'm asking for 20 and you do 20, great. If I'm asking for 12 and you do 20, then we need to bump that intensity a little bit. So I don't break them up by ability levels, but it's then just having these conversations with people as often as I can to kind of just check in with them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Rossy?
Yeah. To answer Kristy's question too, one thing that I did experience when training with Mike, he manages to give you personal service, even when there's a big group, knowing what he knows about you and what your limitations can be. And so that was always a great plus. You know, it's like, yeah, I want to do that, Mike. Yeah, Rossy, well, maybe you should right now. Maybe you should do this instead, right? Because it's always like, yeah, I want to do everything, and I can't now, you know, given the new reality. So that was always very appreciated, and I know a lot of his students
Cool.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you. Sure.
Yeah,
it's always, we can always regress to the movement pattern with no weight, right? If that's what the body needs at that point, that's what the body needs, right? And then we can always, you know, push, you know, to a being smart about it, of course, with what our intensity is and stuff, but pushing as much as within reason, as much as the body can handle.
Yeah, you've also given us different workouts other than what was being.
And that is something that I'm hoping to do in 2 weeks, is like, I mean, I know that like when we had that last conversation, Anna Maria was asking about you know, coming up with different workouts or modifications and stuff like that. So what I want, remind me, how much time is allocated for the workout portion, Rossy?
Let me see here.
Is it an hour and 15?
Yes.
Okay. So I think that initially we had talked about having like a assessment portion of that. I'd like to cut that out, and I'd like to spend more time on like going over the workout and really taking time to help people kind of find modifications that work for them, and then maybe even, you know, translating some of what I'm thinking is that most of that stuff they'll would be able to do at home. So if we can find modifications that work for people, then they can do that stuff on their own. And so I'd like to spend the hour and 15 doing that. I think it would be better use of people's time.
Excellent.
Okay.
I think I asked you this before in class,
Yeah.
and it didn't stick. I don't know. It didn't
Mhm.
sink in. But what makes it where, like for instance, for me, there's some things, some exercises I really, really love. I mean,
Mhm.
I like them. It's like almost like during the day, I want to get up and do them. I mean, no, like so there's
Yeah.
certain ones, and then
Yeah.
there's others that I just, not that I dread. It's not that, but they are much harder for me to
Mhm.
do. And there's just, and I think as we go through, there's more that I like, that I really like.
Mhm.
But it's not just one I mean, if it was one area of the body that it was impacting, I could
Mhm.
see it, but
Mhm.
it's not. It
Mhm.
varies. I've been trying to think this through.
Yeah.
Why is that? Is it just your body? Just I don't know. I think I asked you that one other time. I just remember
Yeah.
one of the other ladies came in. Terry came in, and
Mhm.
she and I were kind of better at upper body. I mean, we're similar in a way.
Yep.
I don't know. It's
Yep.
just it's interesting. And
Yeah,
then
because I
there was
think,
something she didn't like, and I said, no, I don't like that one either.
yeah,
But it's sort of like we like this, you know, certain things.
yeah,
And I don't get that. And I'm
yeah.
trying to go in with an open mind and think, oh, I'm really going to try to like this one, or and you just it's not that I don't like them, they're just harder for me.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's normal or
Oh yeah,
just
I think
part
so.
of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd like to get Chrissy's opinion on this. Um, I mean, I think that there are just the way that, you know, each person's body is put together a different way, both through your, you know, physiological, just like your structure, and then
Mhm.
your daily behaviors, sort of what sort of positions that you're in and whatever. Some people are better designed to squat, some people are better designed to deadlift, some people are better designed to do push-ups or pull-ups or whatever the case might be. Some people can run faster, jump higher,
Mhm.
whatever the case might be, right? So I think it's just a lot of it is just based on how we are designed and what we are good at, right? And just
Mhm.
we're just inclined to that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, you know, I used to identify those differences in people that I trained way back in the day,
Mm,
when I was actually a hands-on personal trainer. And, you know, one example is someone with really long thighs or femur bones and
hmm
very short calves in
hmm
proportion are
hmm
gonna have difficulty squatting traditional
Yep.
squats.
Yep.
Right? It just feels heavier. Mechanically, it doesn't feel good
Yep.
because the leverage is not the same, right?
Yep.
So you're just innately going to have more difficulty with squats. If you have extremely long arms, I'm one of these people. I have really strong upper body, but my arms are very long. So when it comes to a pull up, I got to pull like almost twice as far as somebody else.
Yep.
And I fatigue very quickly. Same with the bench press. You know, I've got really long arms. So to get to 90-degree angle with a bench press is very difficult for me, but you know, I'm very strong in other movements.
Yep.
So I think that give yourself time to explore whether it's you don't like it or you're unfamiliar and uncomfortable. But if it turns out to be something that you just don't enjoy, find those, you know, find those modifications, find those exercises that you do enjoy and
Mhm.
go for it, you know,
Yeah.
because exercise shouldn't be, you know, uncomfortable,
Mm.
or you shouldn't be like, "Oh, I really don't like that one," you know, because you're there to feel good, you
Mhm.
know. So Some people
Not
make more
that bad.
excuses,
It's not-
like, yeah.
Not that, but I just don't, that's what I find interesting is that, I
Yeah.
think there's one, the one where you lay down and you hold the weight and you hold, it stretches your back out. You lay on the bench.
Yeah.
Oh, doing the pullovers.
Right. I love
Yeah.
those. My back feels so fantastic after those. I mean, I can just feel it when I'm doing that, and it's what it does to my back. It's almost like I at a physical therapist or not a masseuse, but I mean, it's something good. It's just that there's certain things I find that are, I don't know, and maybe that's a benefit, and that's supposed to be that way.
And
Well,
I think
it could be that you're opening up things
Mhm.
that you just don't open up on a daily basis to think more holistically about your body. That stretching movement back, I mean, it opens up all kinds of things,
Yeah.
in the front compartment of your body.
I think that's a great point right there. Is that it's giving your body, it's a subconscious sort of reaction, right? It's giving your body something that it needs and you don't consciously realize it, and you're like, oh shit, like, that feels nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. That has to be it. That has to be it. It's so beneficial for your body. That you feel, so good after doing it.
Yeah. And
it's
I know
kind of like yoga, like weightlifting yoga. You've opened up, all kinds of areas of your body that you just don't open up very often. And that stretch and that blood flow to those parts of your body could feel very good.
Yeah. And I think that kind of this part of the conversation right there, I was going to talk about something in a little bit here. That where do I can't remember where that specific note is, but basically if push comes to shove and you don't have any ideas for a certain workout or whatever, just do exactly that. Like do the 2 or 3 or 4, whatever number, 3 or 4 or 5 exercises that like make you feel good so that you get that pump, you get that. But then at the end, like even better, you just get that great just rush of endorphins and whatnot. And you're like, oh, feel better.
I think that's what we did when you were gone. Everybody picked what they liked. And so we just threw it all together. It was
there you go.
Meritage of
there you go.
Whatever. And I think
that's like, that's the one thing. I'm gonna make you do the things that you may not like, but are good for you.
Right. It was fun. It was good.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Nice. So before I move on, any other comments to add? No. Okay. Cool. We got. I think as a whole, I prioritize compound movements, but we do isolation stuff. So just the difference of multi-joint big muscles versus singular joint small muscles. So working, again, going back to it. So all the squat and squat variations, our deadlift variations, our pushing and pulling variations, our lunges, our carries, farmer carries, bear hug carries, shoulder carries, different stuff, hip hinges, rotations. So all of these are going to be for me a priority as far as from a programming standpoint, regardless of who I am coaching. I have, folks that are super frail, but I'm still going to have them do like 5-pound farmer carries. Just being able to manage their body, ground reactive forces, gravity, and 10 pounds extra. Maybe they walk 10 feet, but they walk 10 feet carrying 5 pounds in each hand or something like that. And so those are going to be the priorities as far as any of the programming, any of the structuring that I'm going to do for my clients, and that I would recommend that somebody do for just their overall. It's just more related to life, as far as like using your entire body to do X, Y, or Z versus just a singular sort of movement and stuff. And then kind of an extension of that, I'm going to prioritize movement patterns with no weight, for an individual when they're first starting out over anything else. Just train that pattern again and again and again so that the brain understands where the feet are supposed to be, the hips are supposed to be, the center of mass is supposed to be, like all of these things, where my back and shoulders are supposed to be, so on and so forth. In relation to one another, what should be pushing through the floor, so on and so forth, so that they can just be in the best kind of position possible to accomplish whatever movement it is that we're trying to work on. Working in all planes of motion, because that's how the body is designed to move. And then from there, and these next three are kind of interchangeable. Strength, dynamic strength, athleticism. I differentiate strength and dynamic strength. Strength being like your squat, your bench, your deadlift movements, versus my dynamic strength, which in the strength basics class we'll do between the landmine rainbows, the landmine hay balers, and then deadlift high pulls with a kettlebell. Those are going to be like the dynamic strength movements that we do in those. We might do a push press with the landmine as well, where I'm using my legs a little bit while I press. But again, that's going to be based on the individual, and then based on how long they've been training with me, if they can handle that sort of compound movement, where there's just a lot more asked of the body. So some people aren't ready for it, so they're going to do more of just a strict sort of movement. Other people can do more of a dynamic movement. For me, I'm not going to prioritize aesthetics and bodybuilding so much, though. Just for me, because from the way I come across is I just want people to be as strong as they possibly can, as priority number one. And then the aesthetics and the bodybuilding, I think, come as at least with the type of training that I do, they come in addition to, right? If we're getting better at lunging and split squats and squats and deadlifts, my legs and my butt are going to look a lot better. So I mean, like if this is, just from like a bodybuilding standpoint and stuff. And then the nutrition side of things is something that I'm not well, versed on as far as, whatever. So again, really good that we have Dr. Chris here to help with that, to help folks out kind of achieve that, aspect of it if they're looking for that, more lean appearance and whatnot. I can talk to people in general terms, but I can't get, super detailed and stuff, just out of scope of practice and stuff. So for me, those are kind of like how I kind of prioritize things. I have, I'll just, from like the bodybuilding side of things, I have one woman who's in her early mid-30s or so, whatever, and she'll make comments about how she goes to see a buddy, or she goes to see somebody who she hasn't seen in a while, and she'll tell me that they comment and be like, "Oh, the legs and the butt look really nice." So I know that the bodybuilding aspect is is real, but again, that's kind of secondary for what like my goals are with my clients and stuff.
Well, like you were saying, it's going to happen, if they're in there and they're participating in those functional activities that you have, and then you add progressive overload, like you said. If you're doing that 20 really easily, I'm going to add some weight, or I'm going to add some intensity in another way. They're going to develop and grow regardless, and they're going to work towards those same goals for leanness, or the more aesthetic principles that maybe they have in their mind as an outcome of these efforts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And I'll quickly sidebar here. We got 10 minutes. I'll quickly say that like with the strength and conditioning one, we do more of a linear periodization in that, we'll start out with like really high volume, and over the course of weeks, we're gonna taper down our volume and increase our intensity. And we just go through cycles of that that lasts for 3 months or so. And then we do more complex movements in the strength and conditioning, more dynamic movements. But those are, whereas the folks in the strength basics, 99% of them don't need or can't do weights of 6 and less reps, 8 and less reps, whatever. They just, their bodies can't handle that. So that's why we stick to like the 8 to 15 rep range with them. But in the strength and conditioning, we'll get down to 3s and 4s to really push that strength and stuff. So a few more things here. I'm going to return to this to again, any sort of programming that you're going to do, structuring on your own is like, keep it simple. And I have an example here in a second. Baby step, baby step, baby step. So if you're a little stuck, 5 or 10 minutes today is better than nothing. And if that means, 10 minutes every day until you're ready to do 15 minutes every day, then awesome. Just baby step the hell out of it. And prioritization, and that it's like, okay, I'm going to schedule it. So if you're a morning person, and you're going to work out in the morning, or you're an afternoon person, you're going to work out in the evening, whatever, be like, okay, on these days at this time, I am going to work out, and there's going to be, unless it's obviously, emergency of whatever kind, whatever, but this is going to be a priority in the same way that going to work is a priority. So just an example of like a small start. If a person was to do 5 minutes a day, it's 30 hours in a year. And this is just an overgeneralization, but if I was to do each day 10 push-ups, 15 sit-ups, and 20 squats in a year, that's going to be 3,650 push-ups, 5,475 sit-ups, and 7,300 squats. And that'll take you 5 minutes a day. So it's like you can accomplish, over the course of a period of time, you can, on a daily basis, you can accomplish a lot over, a long period of time and stuff. So just little snippets. Something that we talk about, like I'll talk about with the clients on occasion, is just incorporating stuff into your daily life. So a lot of my folks, they like when they're brushing their teeth, they do the wall sits, they do the balance, they do, split squat holds. If you're brushing your teeth for 2 to 3 minutes, then, you can just get 2 to 3 minutes of balance or leg working while you're doing that. I got a lady who she always tells me she's at the grocery store and she's standing in line. She likes to stand on her toes. I'm like, that's cool. Simple things like parking at the back of the parking lot of Costco. Don't park as close as you can. Park as far away as you can, and then walk. Carry your groceries, things of that. Take the stairs, right? Like just like how are little ways that we can incorporate more activity, as far as into our daily lives, in addition to, right, our structured workouts and stuff.
I have a stand-up desk at my job.
Yeah.
Because standing, you're just using more muscles to do that than you are sitting.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see. It's a few more. Let me take a break here, and then just anything, Rossy, Karen, Kristy. We're good.
Good.
Okay.
Can you, Mark, can you tell us, can you go over your routines, the way your classes are structured, what days you do what, and what are the times?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, at the studio, so I have like the 2 locations. I have the studio and then I have the high school. So the studio is all my morning stuff, and then the high school is the afternoon. The Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, from 8 to 9, I have a strength and conditioning class. And those are either going to be a squat oriented day, a upper body, a bench press oriented day, a deadlift oriented day, so another lower body, and then a full body, and then a full body day. And that full body is going to be dynamic. There will be some bodybuilding type and strength kind of components to it, but it's going to be dynamic. Then Monday through Friday, the 9:15 to 10:15 time block, I have 2 different classes. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, it's the strength basics, which we kind of talked about in detail earlier. And then the Tuesday, Thursday time block is mobility and balance. It's a very low key, very low key class, very chill class. The rest of my morning is private sessions, and then on Monday through Friday, and then in the afternoons at 4:30 through 4:30 Monday through Friday, and 5:40 Monday through Thursday, I have my strength and conditioning classes. Those are structured just slightly differently than the studio 8 a.m. classes. They're either going to be, so as an example, on week 1, like say week 1, Monday, Wednesday, Friday are full body. Tuesday, Thursday The following week are full body, and then the full bodies alternate Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday. And then I have basically an upper body, lower body split where I'll have like a squat oriented day, and then a bench press oriented day, and then a deadlift, another lower body, and then a second upper body oriented day. So, and those fill in the non full body days. And yeah, so those are the classes that are available to folks.
How can you keep it all straight?
A lot
A lot of variety.
Got a lot of it's great because, like, you know, it allows me to, you know, I work with the elementary kids, I work with the middle school kids, the high school kids, and then for my other, you know, for my classes, from people in their 20s to their 80s. So it just allows me to work with a lot of people in town, which is, I feel really fortunate to do that.
It's wonderful.
So yeah, thank you, Ross. So let's see how I'm trying to think how to kind of wrap this up here. We talked about the prioritization. Earlier we had talked about how kind of training will fluctuate over time, and then I think that's okay. I think that, you know, we're all humans, and you know, so it's at certain times your workouts are going to be super rigorous, super structured, the volume, everything's going to be spot on, and other times, like, life is what it is, and it's just going to be, you know, it's going to be lax, whatever, and just do what you can, you know, to help, you know, to maintain that consistency, so you can have kind of you know, more of a like maintenance sort of, you know, phase, whatnot, and then, you know, and then you'll bump it up when the time is right, you know, when it's just like, okay, you know, this is, you know, whatever that may mean for the person. I think that kind of the three final things that are kind of part of this, that are part of this structure to a workout. I know we've kind of gone, you know, kind of in different directions with this, but as part of that structuring your workout, you might feel more accomplished. As Karen has stated, in, you know, a community sense, working out with a friend, you know, it's just, you look forward to seeing the people that you get to know, whatever, you become friends with them, you suffer alongside them. You know, you just look forward to the banter and stuff. We have one dude who is full of puns and just cracks us up all the time and stuff. And so we look forward to that. And then we talked about intent, which I think is super important. And I think that I think in a group, I like it in a group setting, because there are certain individuals within our classes who are just like, they're go, and people feed off of that. And so it helps kind of raise the intent of everybody else, being like, oh wow, that person just did that. All right, I'm gonna bump my game up a little bit, you know. And that's one of the things I like about the classes. So it's like and then again, that's all incorporated into kind of like the structure of what of the workouts, but also what we're trying to accomplish as far as like with this community. And then the final thing that I find that the folks that have the most, the folks that tend to have the most success, they also track what they do intently. And so they are the ones that bring their notebooks to class. They write everything down. They write they write the whole workout down. They write their numbers down. And so it's like, okay, you know, so they can say, okay, I did this last week, I'm gonna do this, you know, this week, or at least this is the goal, right? So it's not, there's no guessing. We're taking into account, though, you know, how, you know, maybe you had a crappy day at work or slept like crap or whatever the case might be. So it's like, all right, I'm not gonna, you know, it's not going to be the best workout, but I'm still here to put some work out in, or to put some work in. But yeah, tracking. So going back to that, tracking progress, I think is super.
And that helps
in your
you
workouts.
compete with yourself as opposed to someone else, right?
Yeah. Because exactly. Yeah. Competing within yourself, or just trying to better yourself, and that goes back to those. You know, goes back to that intrinsic motivation of taking on a challenge. You know, mastery of something. Yeah. So.
Well, I have the book and I've started at a time or two. But to be perfectly honest, I can't see, so I have to go over there, put my glasses on, then write. And it's but I should use the book.
Mhm.
I have the book.
What if you, I know like Brianna will take a picture every day. What if you took a picture and then wrote the stuff down later?
You
At
mean
least
of
of the workout.
of the board?
Hmm.
Yeah, I've done that.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Well, yeah, and then then you mean then remember the weights I did?
Well, no, that you'd have to write down. Yeah.
I have the book. I need to,
Yeah.
I mean, I think of that because you mentioned that a long time ago and I bought the book. It was,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. So I bring it. It's in that bag I have. It's there with a pen and the glasses are in there.
I was gonna say, is it difficult to work out in your glasses?
It's all there.
It's all there.
Do it.
Do you wear, yeah, I can't, you don't wear your glasses when you work out, do you, Karen?
No, because I
No,
can't
yeah.
see. No, I can.
Oh.
No, I couldn't see you if I had the glasses on. I can see everything far. If you tell me to look way across the room and look at something and focus on it, 20/20 vision. But it's writing something up close. I can't see.
Can't see it, yeah.
It's the close up. No, there's two things. There was that, and then also when you said that afterwards we need to do something, you know, to not wind down, but that wasn't the word, but you know, when we're done.
Oh, yeah, I like to do,
we don't do that.
So, what's that?
We don't do that. And
well, you guys like to run out, you know. We never finish on time. We're always like 5 minutes late. And stuff, and then everybody's like, oh, see you later. So, but well, yes.
If hanging on those rings is sufficient.
So some sort of, I don't necessarily like to stretch, but I like to get into some sort of decompressed position. Yeah. And so what we did with the foam roller with that hip extension drill, or laying on our back with our hips and knees in a 90-90 position with our feet on the wall and maybe arms out like in a T or a Y position, child's pose position. It's something that's just going to kind of decompress your body after that. And yeah, I probably need to do a better job of that, but y'all are just like jonesing to get out when we're done.
Well, I feel like everybody, it's late. And I mean, if you go home and do it, is that good enough?
Yeah.
Or do you have to do it right then?
No, you can do it when you get home.
Okay. So it's all good. 6 minutes after.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Well, thank you all for listening to me just, get on my soapbox for an hour. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for all the wonderful advice and the great information. You got me pumped. I think I will we'll go work out with you.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
I just got to figure out where to fit it in my schedule.
That's sometimes the hard part. Yeah. Yep. So.
All right. Well, if there are no other questions, then I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Dr. Kristy. And then 2 weeks from now, wow, the one-day retreat. So that's going to be in person, but we're still going to have the panel discussion, and we should be able to record it. So
that'll be all in, like it'll be in person, though, right? The panel discussion.
Yes. The whole day is going to be in person.
Right,
yes.
In person. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So for those of you who are not familiar with this, we're going to start out working out with Mike. Then Dr. Kristy is going to come in, talk about nutrition. Then we're going to cross the street, go shopping for the good stuff. And then we're going to eat the good stuff at the art park. After that, come over to the ranch and have the panel discussion. And then we're going to end the day with a sound bath, because this is a holistic program. So it's body, mind, and spirit. So that should cover it. Good. And it'll be interesting to see if anybody actually gets up really quickly and wants to go home after that. All right. Well, thank you very much, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Sounds good. Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
See
you guys later.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.